Hello, it's Ramona again. How are you folks? Hope you're all feeling good. I hope my story on resilience has helped you guys. And just to recap, resilience is something that we build slowly. Resilience is something that doesn't mean that you have to be strong all the time. Just resilience means you make a plan. Resilience means that you have the courage to go forward with your plan. And resilience actually means that you are happy to ask for help and support to help you to carry those plans forward. Now, what's very important in my opinion is, apart from being resilient and doing the planning and all these things that we talk about, one of the most important things is to get to know ourselves and to understand what we're all about, and more importantly, to get acquainted with our intuition. Very often, we think we know ourselves, we think we know what we're all about, and we think we know our intuition. 90% of the time, if we haven't thought about it and thought about it really clearly, we actually don't know ourselves as well as we should do. In my business, we call it personal branding, and it's beginning to understand exactly who you are, how to tell your story, how to communicate with other people about who you are, but more importantly, how to communicate with yourself and how to communicate with your intuition. I always say to people, we have a best friend in the world. Very often we spend our lives asking people, what should I do? How should I do this? Do I or don't I? And very often I always say to people, because I'll never tell you what to do. I'll help you to make the right choices and the right decisions for you. So I always say to people, but did you actually talk to your best friend? And they always say to me, well, Ramona, of course we did. And my best friend told me X. And I go, no, not that friend. Did you actually talk to your best friend? And they look at me with this funny look on their faces and say, what's she talking about? Well, very simply, to me, my best friend is my intuition. It's what we in the business call intuition, or we call our gut feeling. Every day of our lives, our intuition is telling us something. It tells us what to do, what not to do. If you're walking down the street, it's amazing how your intuition will just basically say, no, don't go down that street, go down that street. Sometimes when we want to go out and do things, our intuition will sort of go, shouldn't be doing that. 90% of the time, when you don't follow your intuition, guess what? Things do go wrong. When we're recruiting people, I always remember when I used to work at Times Newspapers Limited, my ad director used to say to me, Ramona, when you recruit people, just just listen to your intuition. And if your intuition says no, just go with it, ride with it. Don't worry about anything else. And I learned very quickly that following my intuition, whether it be to do with work, whether it was to do with going out and doing things, whether it was about my career, whether it was about my meeting people and hanging out with people, whether it was with going out with people. When I met my husband, my intuition just went, that's the guy for you. And I went ahead and did it. Funnily enough, I was the one who asked him out, because my intuition told me, if you don't ask him out, that's it. So I did it. And in my whole life, whether it was working for the newspaper industry, either Times, Sunday Times, the Mail on Sunday, who I also worked for, whether it was launching my business, which I always wanted to do, and I knew that being a rebel in this world, that I couldn't really work for other people, but I certainly could actually help other people achieve their dreams and get their businesses up and running and launch their businesses. Whether it be when I worked with Stelios Hagianu and launched with him and his team EasyJet Airlines, all those times with me, it was all about intuition. Even the stories I told you before, which was with Club Story, when I had the disasters that happened there, and when I actually had the disaster that happened to me during the Lehman situation, and even Brexit. Everything I've actually talked to my best friend, and I've said to my best friend, Mr. Intuition, or Miss Intuition, whichever way you want to look at it. What do you think I should do? And every time I listen to my intuition, guess what? It's gone right for me. Very often I've actually had my intuition tell me something, and sometimes I've not listened to my intuition, and guess what? It's gone wrong for me. So the little story here I want to talk about is actually being very, 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 very in tune with your intuition. That's your best friend. And never, never, never ask other people what you should do. Figure it out for yourself, just working with your intuition and your coach. Coaching will help you to understand how to get into yourself and how to actually drill and dig and talk to your intuition so that you can actually come up with the right strategies, the right choices, so that the consequences of those choices are right for you. Remember that, life is a pitch, and therefore it's so important that you understand who you are, what your values are, you have a vision, you understand where you want to go in your life, you understand your passion, you realize and work out for yourself who you want to be with, who you don't want to be with, what you want to do, and actually be strong enough to be able to stick with it. And that's what we mean when we were talking about resilience as well. We're talking about the strength to believe in your ability to make the right decision and believe in the decision that you've actually made. And that way you can actually take it through. So once again, I want to say, life's a pitch. Learn how to tell your story and communicate that story to people, and listen to your best friend, your intuition. Without our intuition, believe you me, we would find life very, very, very difficult. And some of you may be finding life very difficult because, in learning to deal with your intuition is not as easy right now. What we tend to do is we tend to listen to this little fella up here. And this is the society. People are always telling us what we should and shouldn't do. People are always telling what we should wear and what we shouldn't wear. People are always telling us what kind of jobs we should take and what we shouldn't do. In our jobs, we get told all the time what to do and what we shouldn't do. Let me give you a little piece of advice. Get rid of this chap over here and listen to your best friend. Your best friend is your intuition, and your best friend will lead you onto that path that you've been dreaming of, whether it be your work, whether it be your personal life, whether it be what you want to do with your family and your friends. It really is your best friend. So once again, I want you to take care, be safe, make sure that you're looking after yourself during lockdown, you're keeping yourself mentally fit, physically fit, and keeping yourself business fit. I'm once again going to tell you, please do get in touch with me, Ramona at rdg.global, or my website, ramonadagama.com, and I'd be so willing to help you. As I've said to you before, you don't have to pay me any money. It's nothing to do with money. It's something that I really, really want to do, and I'm passionate about being able to help people get out of this crisis so that they're in a position that I'm in now. I'm in a very, very fortunate situation right now because I've achieved quite a lot of what I wanted to achieve. I want to do the same for you. So please stay safe, take care, and please get in touch with me, and have a fabulous evening. Have a fabulous day rather. Take care now.